Hello tanks and tankettes, welcome to one of my videos, and it's a KV-4 game. It's been a little while since I've put up a KV-4 game, and that's mostly because I don't play the KV-4 that much these days, but since I got a mouse, you know, a little while ago now, it kind of supersedes the KV-4 in most ways, but just occasionally I still like to take it out for a spin. And this was one of those days. This is actually a 9.6 replay, so it's quite recent as well. Now this was on stream. This was with Circon, who's in the Rheinmetall, possibly trying to do a mission in for the tank destroyers. It would have been the T-55A, which I think he's still doing at this point as well. Don't think he's gotten it yet. But he actually, for him anyway, it's unusual for him to go up to the monastery corner on Sacred Valley. I'm just going to go to the heavy corner because I'm in one of the heavier heavies around, KV-4. And although there are tier 9s and although there is artillery, well, artillery you're relatively protected from on this corner. And the tier 9s, well, it's a pair of E50s and an IS-8. So it's not like it's half tier 9s. Most of this team was tier 8, and we also had a couple of unlucky tier 7s as well. In fact, our team had more tier 7s, I don't know why. We had an IS, Tiger P and a Comet, and they just had a Comet, so yeah, I don't know, just matchmaking things, I suppose. Anyway, also, it's not like I'm alone. There's a whole bunch of tanks here, and that's going to be relevant to this replay, the fact that there is a whole bunch of tanks here, including our IS-8 and 704. Our T-54 is, I think he's here as well. No, he's in the middle. Anyway, first enemy contact. It looks like there's an E50. And yeah, I want this corner for skyscraping because I can do it a hell of a lot better than an IS-8 can. There's the enemy IS-8 who's fruitlessly shooting heat shells into my tracks. Yeah, just see how that works out for you. I snapped a shot back at him, it did nothing, and I was hoping for a shot on the top of the IS-6 turret, but he pulls back. Now the other IS-6 is using that destructible house as cover. And the reload on the KV-4 is not the best, but I decide, you know what, there's a bunch of tanks behind me. If I shoot this house away, lots of people are going to be able to shoot him. So, although I don't get any XP for shooting the house away, it's the good teamwork thing to do. It'd be nice if there was some way of reflecting that in the scores, but not everything that you do that's good as a bit of team play actually gets reflected in scores, unfortunately. Now, it's at this point that I realise those E50s who are platooned have actually gone around us, which is not particularly good. So, a bit of hesitation ensues here. Ensues, yes, that's what you do when you something with a shoe. I don't even know, brain, why. Anyway, the E50s, I mean, it looks like they're shooting the IS-8 in the back. I'm thinking, right, I'm going to have to turn around to deal with these guys. Are we going to get rushed? I don't know what's happening right now. There's a very real chance that we will just get rushed from both sides, because those E50s have done a pretty smart thing, but our IS-3 and Rheinmetall came up behind them, and it now looks like things are safe once again. So I turn my attention back forwards. And probably none too soon as well, because our T-34 is getting shot in the butt. Meanwhile, up on the hill, it was Circon and a Comet, and they just got overwhelmed by the enemy mediums. So I'm taking the lead here now. I really have to. I've got all the hit points left, and I've got still the best armor on this corner as well. So I really do have to take the lead here. You can see there's an IS-8 coming up the 4 line, and I make a calculation at this point. I actually ignore the Super Pershing to go after the WZ-111. And you might be thinking, why would I do that? Well, I figured there's what, 4 tanks? Friendly tanks behind me? I figured 4 versus 1, they can surely take a Super Pershing. However, I rapidly realised that actually, no, that's not going to happen. The IS and the IS-3 are really too far back to actually be any help. The Rheinmetalls decided to YOLO in against the IS-8, and that just leaves me alone versus 2. So yeah, and suddenly my calculation hasn't paid off at all. My reliance on my teammates, I mean the T-34 was there, but he was very low health, and as it turns out, this Super Pershing, he fires nothing but premium the entire battle, and to be honest, in a Super Pershing these days, I can't really blame the guy. He's got nearly 250 penetration. He's got tier 10 levels of pen with that. And I take out the WZ, but I'm thinking 1 high roll and he's got me. 2 shots at most. But I've actually managed to get my front round to him. And you'll see here, by the way, what the Super Pershing Army is worth these days. I am just snapshotting through his upper front plate. I'm not even aiming for weak spots, that's just right through the upper front plate. Through the double layer of armour. It's really not worth much these days. So I lived! Somehow! Miraculously! I was able to get my front around on him just in time and start side scraping, and at that point he realised far too late that he had to be aggressive. So my earlier calculation that my teammates would be able to sufficiently at least occupy the attention of that Super Pershing turned out to be vastly wrong. But it turned out it didn't matter because I was in a KV-4. So there we go, that was really the point of this replay, although we're not quite done yet, because there's still this comet. There's also a T-44 capping, but we're also capping. Our T-54 has got a comfortable 20-odd second lead, so we don't even have to really reset. One of the artillery might do it. And at this point, I'm thinking, yeah, I'll ram him, because I got to go down a little slope. But unfortunately, he starts moving, which is very unsporting of him. And he's shooting APCR as well. But with this matchmaking, faced with a KV-4, again, really can't blame him. Really can't blame him at all. So we're about to cap. I have come through by the skin of my teeth, but I have come through because it's a KV-4, and it's matches like this that, although, yeah, I don't play it very much these days, it's matches like this that do remind me why I do still like to play it from time to time, because you still can do things like that, because it's a KV-4, and it's just marvellous. So we'll take a quick look at the scores. That was the equivalent of a first class plus a steel wall and a bunch of the minor ribbons, although I did get shell proof, which is, it's quite nice if you get shell proof alongside the steel wall. Damage blocked by armour exceeding the hit points of your vehicle. So yeah, that's a good combo with the steel wall. I was on the top of the team, actually. I did the most damage in the end. My soloing the WZ-111 and unintentionally also having to take on the Super Pershing at the same time. You know, it wasn't my plan that I would take them on 2-on-1, but I did. That meant that I was able to farm all their hit points, essentially. Although I wasn't really shooting at high tiers, I don't know that I did any damage to... No, I didn't damage any. It was all tier 8s and that comet at the end that I actually did damage to. The IS-8 I wasn't shooting at... well, I did shoot at him, but I didn't pen him. Is what I mean. But I just managed to do enough damage, and plus the 3 kills, that put me at the top of the team. The T-54 also did pretty well, 2,700 damage. Although you might argue a T-54 in that matchmaking, he could have had a glorious time. In someone like Foch's hands or Circon's hands, I'm sure a T-54 being driven by them in that situation, I think they would have done a lot better. But they did hoover up a lot of kills there, 5 kills. Circon unfortunately didn't do that well, but he just got overwhelmed right at the start of the battle. There really wasn't much he could do. There just wasn't the firepower up on that corner. So I think it possibly reinforced his feeling that going up to the monastery is a waste of time in a lot of circumstances. Although it is a useful strategic area, but if there's only 1 or 2 tanks going up there, it's very easy to just get overwhelmed, because most of the cover up there is destructible. So yeah, there we go, KV-4. I did as much damage as I bounced, just about, and that's always nice to do in a KV-4. It was a reasonable game, and I will continue to occasionally take it out, but yeah, it's probably going to be a rare sight on the stream and possibly a rare sight on the channel, just because at tier 8 there are other things I'm grinding, and there are other machines that I go to make credits, especially because obviously tier 8 is where all of the best money making premiums live, so you will see it from time to time, but possibly not that often. So if you enjoyed this replay, you can hit the like button, you can leave any comments below, you can subscribe to my channel, and as always, stay tuned for more.